Unforgettable Love, it's a story of the Northeast girl of a beautiful place, Shillong. It's not my story, by the way, it's not even a story, but let's call it a story. These are words that I typed in my diary long back in my laptop. So, don't grind to trigger every single grammatical errors. I'm very bad in grammar. I just wanted you guys to read it and pass on the story if you like it. A story with no happy ending, but it's not important that every story got to have a happy ending like Cinderella. We learn lot of things from our experience. So, I hope you guys going to love it, and my friend, Ankita were just sitting on a chair having a cold drink in the balcony. It was a clear night that day in June, summer. We were just having a casual conversation. I just popped out a random question out of blue. Do you have a crush? I asked. Something made her feel off. I could see her face, she was sad, she was not able to swallow the cold drink. Maybe she had some kinda emotional roller experience before, I thought myself. I request her to tell me about her crush if that's okay with her. She was trying to skip the topic, but I somehow made her feel good. She got herself together and told me her story. So, here's a story start. She was kinda confused to start her own unspoken story. She drenched into her thoughts and started to gather those memories. Her house was next to a big playground. Kids, adults used to play there having a good time. It was that special day, unforgettable day, she saw him for the first time playing football. She loved football and that guy was a good football player. So here's the turning point. Perhaps deep down in her heart she never believed love at first sight until she saw that guy. She was feeling butterflies in her stomach. It was like her heart going to burst out of her chest because it was beating so hard. Maybe it seems like it happened so fast, but for her, it was like she knows him for years. From the very next day, she used to secretly peek at him playing football on a playground. She was in love. He was her big crush. She wished her heart get kidnapped by that good-looking guy. Maybe it was a coincidence. She was in grade 8. It so happens that guy took admission in the same school where she was studying. Both of them were in the same class. She was so much happy, her excitement was out of control. It was like everything was in her favor. But she was nervous too. She feared, what if she ends up doing some stupidity in front of him? She doesn't want to lose this chance to talk to him personally. But she never had guts to approach him or just to say, hi. Her fear suppresses her strength to take one step further. She couldn't even talk to him. One day, their class teacher gave them some assignments, divided the whole class into groups. She was his partner in a project task. They were in the same group. She loved the way he used to handle the task with his team. He was very motivative and creative as well, and that made her more attraction to him. The hesitation and how difficult it was to exchange words. She was definitely on cloud 9, but she didn't let him see it. So, finally, she started having a conversation with him doing the project tasks. They keep on talking for hours rather than getting done with a task. But they got done with their stuff and it was pretty good to exhibit to their teachers. It was that point of time when they got to know each other. They used to spend most of the time together. It went on like that. She got to know that he got interested in her too. Her classmate used to tease her, but she was trying to explain somehow. I care for him, but I don't love him, she said to her friends. But inside of her, it was completely different. But her friends never stopped teasing her. Sports day, she used to participate in sports. He was also somewhat into sports. Maybe he participated in sports cause she was into it. Both of them were selected in interschule sports meet. So, they had to go for a practice every morning. They were made to run 2 or 3 times around the playground. She was once had to run 100 meters with other selected girls in a practice session. Their sports teacher whistled, they rush on a track. But in the middle of the track, she slipped and fell on the ground. She was so much embarrassed and couldn't even look up. He ran towards her, he asked if she was okay. She couldn't look up at his face. She was embarrassed by herself. That guy was caring for sure and he cared for her. It was love, but they didn't express to each other. Farewell day. Yeah, it was the farewell day. All the students were crowded in assembly hall. Boys were dressed as gentlemen and girls were dressed as beautiful ladies. She wore her best gown that day. She wanted to look perfect in her best dressed gowns in front of her friends. He was the head boy of the school and so he was voted as best gentleman of the school. Now, it was time for best lady of the school. She was nervous, though she was looking amazing in her dress, she didn't want her name to be called out. Their teacher went up to the stage to declare the result. The teacher announced, so, the most voted girl for a beautiful lady of the school is Ankita. The moment she heard her name, it was like her heart going to burst out of her chest because it was beating so hard. Now, Ankita and Andy, yeah, that's his name, had to walk together up the stage. She recalled that he was shivering so much at that moment. She was nervous too, but somehow they went up to the stage and round of applause and claps could be heard in every corner of the hall. He requested her if he could do some spin part with her. But she said no and she regrets that. She thinks maybe it would have been turning out something different if she had allowed him to do. But it was an unforgettable moment for her. She cherishes that moment every time she looks at her gown that she wore that day. Their 10th grade result was out. Now, they had a lot of time to spend with each other, but it never happened like that. He was mad for her, in some way she was too. But she never shared her emotion to nobody. She used to keep most of the things to herself, and never expressed that emotion to him or her friends who were close to her. He was holding a Thanksgiving service at his home. Once he went to Ankita's house to give an invitation card. He invited her for dinner along with classmates. But she was not there in her house. He visited her house most of the time. Unfortunately, he never got to meet her. He badly wanted to talk to her personally. One day he left a card for her and there was his mobile number. She never dared to make a call to him. She was somewhat trying to ignore him. She was nerdy and never gave importance to love, relationship. So, farewell day, was the only moment they were together for the last time. My drink was finished, I didn't realize it, I was so much involved in her story. I still had some more questions for her, so, I asked her, what happened next? I asked, where is he now, are you guys in contact? She said no. She hardly sees that guy now. His family moved somewhere else. He left no trace to find him if ever she wanted. Maybe he was emotionally hurt by her ignorance. I asked if she have that invitation card with her. She said yes. The very next morning I went up to her house, knocked at the door, she told come in and we sat on a couch. I asked her if I can have that card right now. She agreed. She went to her room and brought that card. She gave it to me. As I started dialing that phone number, she snatched that card from my hand. She didn't want me to make a call to him. She was not ready for it. I tried my best to explain it to her that this is only last shot to talk to him. I told her to express everything her heart out. She denied every time, but at last she agreed. So, I dialed the number and hit call button. Operator from other side, this number does not exist, check the number you have dialed. Unfortunately this was her only chance to talk to him but it was too late. She told me, I had unforgettable moment with him, he was my crush and I screwed myself up. You don't know what you have until it's gone. So, guys, I ain't storyteller and I ain't writer. I just wanted this story of my friend get heard. That's it, have a good day.